Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel. Today is going to be our Google Display Ads tutorial for 2019. So before we get started, the one thing I want to show you is we just did our Google Ads tutorial for beginners for 2019. You'll find it on our channel. It'll be the video right before this one. We'll also put this link in the video description so you can find it easily. We go through a little bit more in this tutorial about setting up your account, about conversion data, about linking your Google Analytics account. So you definitely want to check that one out if you're not completely familiar with Google Ads yet. Now, if you're just looking for Google Display Ads, just to get started, the first thing that I always recommend doing is coming to Tools, going to Linked Accounts, and making sure that you have your Google Analytics account linked to your Google Ads account. So when you come into your Google Analytics account, you should see it linked here. It should say auto tagging is enabled. So that will allow you to track your campaigns into Google Analytics. So just to show you a quick example with the campaign we just created yesterday. So if we come into Google Analytics and you go to Acquisition, Google Ads, and come to Campaigns, so just make sure you have the right dates set up. So what you're going to be able to see here is our Farmhouse Goals search campaign. So this is the campaign we just created yesterday. It's going to show you clicks, cost data, any conversion data that you have. And right here you can see it's the same exact statistics. So 5 clicks, same exact costs, no conversions yet. So you're able to track your campaigns really easily by linking your accounts. So that's what you want to do to get started first. The next thing you want to do is make sure you set up conversion tracking. So if you click on conversions here under measurement, it'll open this conversion action screen, and you can see we have a couple different conversion actions here. So this is the one we're optimizing for. It's going to show include in conversions yes. So we went over all of this in more detail in the other tutorial, so make sure you check that out if you're not completely familiar with all of this. So let's get into Google Display Ads. Now, before we get into it, just want to show you our surfsideppc.com/marketing page. So these are all marketing products and services that we use. There are recommended marketing products. They are affiliate links. If you click on any of them and go through them and sign up, it's a great way to support our channel. And they're also products and services for marketing that we really recommend. So SEMrush, Crowdfire, Tailwind App, Bluehost, WordPress, WooCommerce, and we're going to add more marketing products here that we continue to use. So one of the ones that we just started using is WP Rocket, WordPress Rocket. It's a great cache plugin for WordPress websites. So go to surfsideppc.com/marketing and we list all of the products and services that we use there. So coming back to the tutorial here, we're back in our Google Ads screen. We're looking at our campaigns right now. What we want to do is click to add a new campaign. So under select campaign type, what you want to do is click on display here. And really your goal is you want to import conversions like I showed you in the other video. You want to make sure you're optimizing for conversion actions, and you either want to be using sales or leads as the goal that makes this campaign successful to you. So these other campaign goals, you can use them if you'd like. There are some uses for them, but I tend to go towards sales or leads because I think they're going to give you really the most optimal performance for your budget. So for this one, I'm going to be doing sales. So I'm going to click on sales here, and we're going to be doing a standard display campaign, and you can enter your website here if you want. It'll give you some more data about targeting and things like that. So we'll just enter farmhousegoals.com. That's what we'll be creating this campaign for today, and we're going to click on continue. So next we're going to name our campaign. So we'll just do Farmhouse Goals Display Campaign. So locations, you can select which locations to target. So maybe you just want to do the entirety of United States. Maybe you're just serving one city in the United States, so you just want to do something like New York. It'll open up the state, the city, the Nielsen DMA region. So that's basically the entire New York City market. You could do the county, and then it'll show other things: Syracuse, New York, Rochester, New York. So you can target exactly the people that you serve, and you can even just do postal codes. You can do radius targeting, so you can really find the exact location you're looking for. With display campaigns, I tend to think locations can be really important, especially if you're only serving a specific location. You want to make sure that you're targeting the right people. Now with location options, I generally do people in my targeted locations, and I'm not going to exclude anybody for this campaign, but I'll also do people in my excluded locations. So the way they showed is people in, or who show interest in your targeted locations. So that means someone can be located elsewhere in the world and just show interest in the United States, and they might see my advertisements. I'd rather just target people in the United States, so I'm just going to do people in my targeted locations and exclude. If I'm excluding somebody, I want to do people who are in the excluded locations. Now, language targeting, just enter all the languages that your customers speak. So for us, we're just going to keep this as English for now. If you serve people who speak other languages, you can enter Spanish. You can enter all sorts of languages here from the drop down list. So next is bidding. So As I showed in the previous tutorial, because our account doesn't have enough data yet, it's not going to allow us to actually bid for conversions yet. We're going to have to start driving some conversions. So the way they kind of have it set up is you need to send 15 conversions in a 30-day period. Sometimes they'll let you switch over to the conversions bidding strategy without that amount of conversions. But since we don't have enough data yet, we're going to have to be optimizing for clicks for now. So I'm going to open up my Surfside PPC account real quick and show you some other bidding options. So we have Surfside PPC open here. So for this account, we've driven enough conversions that we're able to use different bidding strategies here. So there's really a couple different options here. So for conversions, you can set a target CPA, a target cost per action. So how much you're willing to spend for each conversion. And you can say, how do you want to get conversions? You can either manually set bids or just set automatically maximize conversions. And Google is going to try to get you the most conversions within your budget. Whatever your target CPA is, so let's just say, for example, it's $10. That means Google is going to try to send us conversions for $10 each conversion. And ultimately, your goal is to try to get your target CPA down over time. So I've ran campaigns where it started at anywhere from $5 to $50. It really depends on the client, and you try to really get it down and down and down as you run the campaign and as you collect more data. So if your target CPA starts out a little bit high at first, that's really not a huge deal, because as you spend your budget, you should be able to get it down, especially as Google learns more about what's going to convert for your business. Now, the other bidding goal is going to be conversion value. So if you click on conversion value, that's going to target a return on ad spend, ROAS. So really you want this to be above 100%, but you can start this lower as well. So maybe you start at 75%. That means for every dollar that you spend, you're driving back 75 cents in revenue to your business. If you get it up to 200%, that means you're basically doubling every dollar you spend, you're getting back double that. So if you spend $1, you get $2 back, and so on and so forth. So these are the two best bidding strategies that you really want to ultimately use. You might not be able to use them at first, like the way my account is set up, because it's brand new. So I wanted to set up a brand new account because I figure a lot of beginners are watching our tutorials. But if you're able to use these conversion bidding strategies, you definitely want to use either conversions or conversion value. This is generally referred to as target CPA, and conversion value is generally referred to as target ROAS, target return on ad spend. So we're going to come back to farmhouse goals here. Bidding, we're going to do clicks. You can either manually set bids or you can automatically maximize clicks. I generally manually set bids, but for this tutorial, I'm just going to do automatically maximize clicks. The main thing is you really need to keep a close eye on your campaign. So when you create your campaign, you don't want to just completely forget about it. So if we come back to our search campaign real quick, one thing you might find is we're going to click on this search campaign is all your clicks and impressions will mostly come from one ad group when you get started. So what I generally do is I'll come in, I'll pause that ad group and make sure that other ad groups are starting to get some activity. If you're not seeing activity from these other ad groups, it means you might have to increase your max CPC bid. Now, as you start getting to the conversion bidding strategy, you can just leave all of this wide open as Google gets more data, because they're just going to try to drive either conversions or sales to your business for the least amount of cost. So just keep that in mind as you create your campaign with separate ad groups. You might see a lot of activity in just one ad group, so you just want to make sure that you're either pausing that ad group or increasing your bid so that other ad groups can also get activity as well. Now we're going to go through more about this search campaign in an updated tutorial, an advanced tutorial, where we go through a lot of different things about search ads, but coming back to display ads here. So what we're going to do is focus on clicks, automatically maximize clicks, and our maximum CPC bid limit for now, we're just going to set at 80 cents. So keeping the CPC bid limit fairly low for now. I really want to get to the conversion bidding strategy, so you might have to increase your CPC bid limit based on your budget to get started. I generally run my campaigns at a lower budget if I'm not able to optimize for conversions yet. And then once you're able to run your campaign optimally and hopefully have a positive return, then you just increase your budget as much as possible to get the most out of your money. So scrolling down with our budget, so we'll just set this at $10 per day for now. I'll usually set it pretty low, so I have the other one set at $3 per day. So I don't want to spend a ton of money before I start getting some of this data, because as you get data, your campaign will improve. So I don't just want to spend a ton right away. I'd rather hold my budget back a little bit and then spend more as I go. Okay, so we clicked on additional settings here, and then under delivery method, you can either do standard or accelerated. I always just keep this as standard. Accelerated will spend your budget quicker throughout the day. Ad rotation, so optimize, prefer best performing ads. That's what I highly recommend doing. You can rotate evenly if you want to begin, or just set it to rotate ads indefinitely to start, and then go to optimize so that all of your ads are getting some activity. But I just generally do optimize, and Google's going to serve the best performing ads. So you can set ad schedules, start and end dates, you can set devices. Now, one thing is frequency capping, so you can set a limit on how often your ads show to the same user. This might be something you want to do if you're running remarketing campaigns, or if you have a smaller reach up top here, you might want to set a frequency cap so that people aren't seeing your ads over and over again. Now, when you're driving conversions, I really don't worry about frequency capping that much because Google is just going to optimize your ads to serve to people who are most likely to convert at that time. You can also set content exclusion. So if you want any digital content labels you want to exclude, any sensitive content, any content types you want to exclude. So sometimes I'll exclude sensitive content so my ads don't appear on these types of websites. You can do some content type if you want, so maybe games. So and there's some different options down here as well. If you leave it wide open, generally it's just going to continue to optimize like I keep talking about. So we'll scroll down. We're going to create an ad group. So this is just going to be our ad group example. So the main thing about ad groups is I generally don't put a ton of different targeting into one ad group. If you enter your URL in the beginning when we created the campaign, you're going to get some ideas here. So it's going to show some in-market audiences that they might recommend for you. If we come back to browse, now I've talked about this before in past tutorials, but I generally look at it like your remarketing and similar audiences are generally going to perform the best. Similar audiences will perform similar to in-market and custom intent audiences. So remarketing is going to perform the best for you because those people have interacted with your business before. They have some idea of who you are. They might have looked at your products and services already, and they might be on the fence about buying them already. So remarketing is generally going to perform the best. We're going to do a follow-up tutorial with some remarketing strategies. So similar audiences, those are automatically going to be created as you create your remarketing audiences. So we don't even have ours created yet and published here, so we're going to do that in a follow-up tutorial. So what I want to go through in this tutorial is in-market audiences, custom intent audiences, and affinity and custom affinity. So affinity and custom affinity are really the best for brand awareness, reach, and just trying to get your message out there about your brand. So if you're serving a large group of people, affinity and custom affinity might be worthwhile for you. You can tell some of the categories here are a little bit wide open. So home and garden, if we click down, do-it-yourselfers, home decor enthusiasts. So for farmhouse goals, I might try to target some of these and just see if I can get people who are interested in farmhouse decor. But again, do-it-yourselfers, that's a very, very wide niche. It's not something where people are only going to be interested in farmhouse decor. So we'll come back here and we're going to go to in-market and custom intent. So if you're seeing all of these different options here, they might say custom intent audiences, auto-created, new audiences. So here's some different created audiences that are just created for my business. So farmhouse decor would definitely be one that I can do. We can also create a custom intent audience here. So if we click on it, audience name, let's say I do farmhouse goals audience. And then what it's going to say is related keywords and URLs. So I can enter keywords and URLs related to the products and services that this audience is actively researching. So if I do apron front sinks, copper, you can enter all of these here and just make sure they're relevant. I could do farmhouse decor. I can do farmhousegoals.com, enter my own website. You can find other websites that are going to be interested or similar to your website where people are going to be interested in what they have to offer. So I'm not going to go through and create a complete custom intent audience here. They generally recommend adding at least 50 things down here. So if you're adding websites, you're adding keywords, the more you add, the better, especially if it's all relevant. You don't want to make it too broad though. So if I enter a bunch of farmhouse things and then at the last I do home decor, then it's going to make it a little bit more broad. So you just want to keep it as targeted as possible. I highly recommend using custom intent audiences, creating your own. You can also use the ones that they create for you. So farmhouse decor right here. Now, any of the custom intent audiences that you create will show up right here, so we don't have one yet. In addition, you can also look at in-market audiences. There's a ton of options here, so let's just show financial services as an example, banking services. So you can try to find people who are looking for debit and checking services, savings account. Maybe you want to do credit and lending. Try to find people who are looking for auto loans, business loans, and really serve to people based on whatever it is you're offering. If you can't find an audience here, you're looking through all the options, one thing to do, you can search and filter by term, phrase, or URL. So I can come here and just search farmhouse decor, and it's going to pull up the audiences that are most similar to farmhouse decor. You can enter your URL there, and especially if you're getting a lot of traffic, Google should have some data on your website, and they're going to be able to find some audiences that are the best for you. So for this one, farmhouse decor, it's showing my targeting's reach is 180K impressions. So that's basically all I have to do is leave it just like that, click on done, and I can start targeting this audience. But I want to go through demographics real quick. I want to go through a little bit more about audiences. When you're using Google Analytics, and we're going to come back to our Google Analytics account over here, and you come into audience, you can click on demographics right here and click on overview. So we're using data from December 1st to March 8th. So you can see our audience is mostly 25 to 64 and 75% female about, 25% male about. So if I'm coming back to my targeting and I'm doing demographics, one thing I could do is say I want to target female 25 to 64 and then just leave the rest wide open. I can narrow down household income a little bit. So maybe I just want to target people in the top 50% of household income because they're generally going to buy the most home decor, and click on done. So that's the way I would use demographics, is use your Google Analytics data and try to target the people who are most interested in your business, in your products, and your services. If you're 50-50 on gender, if you don't have any ages that stand out, then you can just leave demographics wide open. The one thing I generally don't do unknown age, because I want people to be at least 18 years old who are looking at my advertisements. But otherwise, I usually keep it pretty wide open and I just use the data from Google Analytics. We'll click on done here. Now, under audiences, the other thing you can do here is click on interests and look at the top affinity categories and in-market segments for your business. And Google is going to pull up different audiences that they already have there, some of the ones that I showed you. And you're going to, if we click in market audience, it's mostly just going to be home decor. Same with affinity categories. So you can use those to guide your targeting decisions as well. So you definitely want to use your Google Analytics data with your display campaigns to get the best out of them. For this one, I'm just going to keep it at farmhouse decor, and I'm going to keep these demographics. Now, the next is content targeting. So this is going to be where you want your ads to show. So you can narrow your reach with keywords, topics, and placements. The one thing to keep in mind about keywords is it's going to say try custom intent audiences, a new version of audience keywords. I generally don't use keywords at all anymore in display campaigns. The only content I will use, and we're going to close keywords for now, I don't usually use topics. The only content I'll use is placements, because if people are visiting specific websites, so if I come here and just search farmhouse decor, and we look at the top websites, YouTube channels, anything like that. So these are all pretty relatable to farmhouse decor. So if I click on them, I can target them. The one thing to keep in mind is if you already have a small reach, like 120,000 impressions is a pretty small reach for now. If I click on one of these websites, it's really going to narrow down the reach. So it's saying less than 1K impressions. And for this, so this is for weekly estimates, and it's going to restrict my impressions by 99% by targeting just this placement. So you could try to add more here and see if it increases it at all, but it's still not even above 1K. So we're going to close this, click on done. So I usually don't use placements along with audiences unless I'm using a broad audience. So you can do something like target an affinity audience or a custom affinity audience and then use placements as well, because affinity audiences tend to be very broad. But if you're using some of these in-market custom intent, remarketing, and similar audiences, you really don't need to narrow it down by content as well, because you're already targeting people who are going to be interested in your content, whether they're on any website. So maybe they're just looking up the local news that day. They're still going to be interested in farmhouse decor or whatever it is you're offering. So you don't really need to narrow down by content. What you can do is do targeting expansion, so you can try to increase your targeting a little bit to more reach. So it's saying 160K more impressions on average than at manual targeting level. So it's going to say reach more users by letting Google look for high performing audiences similar to your target. So if you want to increase your impressions a little bit, you can do that. I generally keep this low to begin. So we're at 100K for now, and then you can always increase as you're running your campaign depending on how well your campaign is performing. So that's targeting. There's a lot of different options there. Demographics, audiences, you can use your Google Analytics data. That's what I'd highly recommend using. And then keywords, topics, and placements. I usually don't use keywords or topics at all anymore. I will use placements sometimes, but usually if I'm only using a very broad audience. But if you're using a targeted audience, you don't need to narrow by content. You could always just use targeting expansion to expand your audience a little bit or narrow your audience. So now on to advertisements. So advertisements are very important for your campaign, and what you want to do is click on the plus add, so you can do responsive display ads or upload display ads. So if we click on display ads, you can upload your ads here. It's going to have a final URL. It's going to say supported sizes and formats. So the supported image formats are GIF, JPEG, and PNG. AMP HTML formats, so you can include a zip with one HTML document. I haven't used AMP HTML yet. That's something I really need to figure out, and I want to create a tutorial about it. I just need to learn more about it. Max size 150 KB, so you can't use huge images. Sometimes this can be difficult for some of the larger image sizes. Here's all the supported image sizes. So Really, the best practice is to upload every single image size, but that can take a really long time to create, especially if you don't have an entire creative team. If you do have a creative team, you want to create all of these different sizes, maybe multiple versions of them, and upload them. What I would highly recommend getting started with is 300 by 250, maybe 336 by 280. You can maybe upload a square version, 250 by 250 and 200 by 200. Under skyscraper, 160 by 600, 300 by 600, and 300 by 1050. All very popular. The mobile ones are all very popular for mobile devices. And then leaderboard, basically all of these are pretty popular. I don't usually do 468 by 60. So I'm going to upload some ads real quick. Okay, so you can see I have 3 ads here that are too large. So what I would do is I would open them and resave them as JPEG, maybe lower some of the quality real quick. I'm not going to do that, but these are generally the ads I start with. So 320 by 50, 300 by 50, 728 by 90, 160 by 600, 300 by 250. Clearly these aren't ads that I'm going to be running for farmhouse goals. I'm actually not going to be running a display campaign for farmhouse goals. I'm just doing this tutorial to show you how to create a campaign, but you want to make sure you have very visual ads. If you're not experienced with creating advertisements, you definitely want to outsource this to somebody who knows how to do it. You can do that on Upwork.com. You can hire somebody to do it for you. There's a lot of different ways to do it. You can hire a freelancer. You go to Google and just search for Google Display Ad Creation Services. Then you can get people who can create them for you, because I would not try to do it if you're not used to doing this already. So we're going to X out of this. So now what you can do once you upload these ads is just click Add to Ad Group. So now it's going to show all of these ads are going to run for the campaign. Now, the more important thing when you click on ad is you definitely want to do responsive display ads. So with responsive display ads, you can upload videos if you want. So just to do a quick example, so if I search YouTube, I can enter Surfside PPC. I don't have any videos for farmhouse goals, but I could just do something. So this is the video that comes up first, top PPC trends. So if I click on it, click on save. So here's just an example of what the video would look like. So someone's going to see basically the thumbnail just like that last format. So we come back here. If you click on the plus sign, it's going to start playing that video. We definitely don't want to do that. You can create maybe something like a slideshow would work well for farmhouse goals. Slideshows are generally the best type of videos here. Most people aren't going to see your video and click play for something like this. So you need something that's engaging and something that people are going to be interested in very quickly. Now, I'm not going to be using a video for this tutorial. Obviously, I just wanted to show you that this is an option. You can just upload it to YouTube. So what we're going to be doing is coming to images and logos. So you can scan your website. It's going to say any images from your website that it can find. Otherwise, you can just upload. So I'm going to upload a few of these. So these are the sizes that I recommend using, 1200 by 628 and 800 by 800. So if you click use as, it's going to say image, and then you can do a landscape 1200 by 628. It fits well. You can also turn this into a square as well, but you don't have to. That's why you would upload the 800 by 800. We're going to click on continue. So this is now used as a 1.91 by 1 image, 1200 by 628. It doesn't have to be that large. You can do smaller sizes, but generally this performs the best. 800 by 800, you could do use as image, and it's going to say use square 1 by 1, continue. Now, last but not least, you want to upload your logo. So I'm going to do that now. So basically you want to upload 2 versions of your logo. One is 4 by 1, one is 1 by 1. So this is a square logo. This one's rectangle. So for example, you could do something like 800 width, 200 height, and that would be, you can use for your logo 4 by 1 and then a logo 1 by 1. So what you want to do is upload several different images like this. So I would always upload ad variations, at least 2. Generally I upload 3 or 4, and then Google is going to optimize those all. You can also upload different logos if you want. You can use different colors and things like that and see what works best. So this is just basically a bare bones example. We have another tutorial on our channel about responsive display ads, how to create them, everything like that. But this is what we're going to start with. So we have an 800 by 800 image. You would want to upload multiple ones of these. 1200 by 628 image. You would want to upload multiple ones of these as well. Obviously, we're not going to run these for farmhouse goals. These would be terrible performing ads. I'm just using this as an example. And then you want to upload your logo here. So 1 4 by 1, 1 by 1 by 1. We're going to click on save. So it's going to show some ad variations to the right here, and you can see kind of what they look like. And this will help you see how things are going to look and maybe how they're going to perform on different websites. They have mobile, they have desktop, so you can click on all of these and see how they look before you upload them. I generally use responsive display ads more than the standard display ads, but uploading both will only help your campaign. Now next, you want to add headlines, a long headline, descriptions, and your business name. And with headlines, they allow you to add up to 5. You want to use all 5. just see which one performs best. Again, descriptions, you want to use all 5 as well. So I'm going to type these all out, but I'm going to skip through ahead a little bit so you're not just watching me type all of them. Okay, so we added our images. You want to make sure you enter the proper final URL here so you can test different landing pages. So I can test sending people directly to my homepage. I can test sending people to my shop page. I can try to create specific pages on my website that would be best for Google Ads. So maybe I link to different articles and things like that. You really want to test different final URLs and see which one drives the most engagement and drives the most sales. And you could do that obviously in Google Analytics when you're testing your campaign out. Images and logos, you obviously want to add more than one landscape image, more than one square image, and you want to make sure you have very engaging ads and ads that are going to get people's attention when they're scrolling online, especially people who are interested in farmhouse decor. Now headlines, we entered 5 headlines here, so some different options: farmhouse goals shop, 20% off, maybe you're running a deal, top rated, tell people that you have the best products, show people a different product line you have, and maybe just try a different type of keyword, farm home style decor, just see what people are going to be the most interested in. You could obviously see all these different options here. And then we did 5 different long headlines, and then last but not least, business name. So we're going to do farmhouse goals. Now there's add URL options. There's more options here, so you can do a call to action text. So you definitely want to do that. They have automated, but I like to do shop now. Keep it English. You can change the language for that. More options. They have custom colors. So if you want to do custom colors, you can enter your colors here. It looks like they've already imported the color that I want to use. But you can just take that color. So we could take our main color here and enter that. So if you're not sure how to do this, we use a tool up top here. So it's an eyedropper tool for Chrome. You could pick the color directly from the web page, and then it enters it right into the eyedropper. So you can see if we scroll over, it'll show some different colors. You can also just do white and black here, just whatever the best is for your brand, but they're also going to pull out colors from whatever your logo is. But if you have different colors, you can enter main colors, accent colors, make sure people are really engaging with your ads and seeing your brand as they scroll online and look at different ads and look at different websites. So we're going to click on add to ad group. So now you can see we have all these different ads uploaded. 1200 by 628, 300 by 250. So now what we can do is click on create campaign. Okay, and that's that. Now we have our campaign created. We can click on continue to campaign. And one thing you can do is we have our ad group example here. You can create new ad groups, test out different targeting. So maybe you want to do one ad group with a custom intent audience. Maybe you want to do one ad group with an in-market audience. Maybe you want to do one ad group with a similar audience and you want to run them all against each other. You can enter all those different ad groups. When you click on your ad group, it's going to open all the ads that you uploaded. You can take them, go to edit, come to copy, and just copy those ads. And as you create a new ad group, you can just paste them into the other ad group if they're not automatically created when you create your new ad group. So you can make sure that your ads are all in the same ad group. You can also duplicate these ads. So if you copy them, you can paste them in here as well. And you can duplicate them and test out different landing pages. So you really want to test your advertisements. You want to test targeting. You want to see what works best for your business, because you never really know until you test everything to see how everything performs. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thank you for watching our video today.